The 4 realest reasons why the narcissist hates you. Have you ever found yourself questioning why a narcissist seems to target you with such intensity? Maybe you've been caught in their web of charm, only to suddenly feel rejected, belittled, or even despised for no apparent reason. The truth is, the dynamic between you and a narcissist is a complex and deeply unsettling one. What can seem like a love affair at first may quickly turn into a battlefield, where every move is scrutinized and every flaw magnified. You may be left wondering, why does the narcissist hate me? What did I do wrong? In today's discussion, we're going to unravel this mystery and explore the 4 realest reasons why a narcissist might harbor such animosity toward you. If you've ever found yourself baffled by their behavior, or if you've experienced the emotional roller coaster that comes with dealing with a narcissist, this video is for you. But stay with me until the end, because the truth about narcissism may be more insidious than you ever realized, and understanding these reasons will help you take back control of your emotional well-being. So, if you're ready to gain a deeper insight into the psyche of the narcissist and understand the hidden dynamics that drive their hatred, let's dive into this topic. Before we begin, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss out on more in-depth discussions like this one. You're not alone in this journey, and by exploring these truths together, we can empower you to regain your emotional freedom. The relationship between a narcissist and their target is often defined by power dynamics and manipulation, and as difficult as it may be to understand, narcissists typically harbor a deep-seated hatred for those they once seemed to love or admire. But why? What drives this irrational and often cruel behavior? Let's start by exploring the first reason. Number 1. Narcissists hate you because you challenge their superiority. Narcissists live in a constructed reality where they believe they are inherently superior to everyone around them. Their worldview is shaped by a fragile sense of self-worth, one that depends entirely on receiving validation and admiration from others. Without constant external affirmation, their self-esteem crumbles. This means that their entire sense of identity is precariously balanced on the approval of those they deem important or worthy of their attention. In this world, they are the center, and everyone else exists in the periphery to either admire or serve them. However, when you, whether intentionally or inadvertently, challenge this inflated sense of superiority, it can feel like a direct assault on their very existence. Even the smallest act of asserting your own opinion, setting a healthy boundary, or simply choosing not to cater to their needs can be seen as an act of rebellion. It can be as simple as expressing an independent thought, making a decision that doesn't align with their expectations, or refusing to feed their need for constant attention. To the narcissist, this isn't just a minor disagreement or an inconvenience. It feels like a devastating blow to their ego. It's not merely a difference of perspective, but rather a threat to their carefully constructed illusion of perfection and power. The narcissist cannot tolerate any disruption to the narrative that they are the best, the most important, or the most deserving of admiration. This is when resentment starts to build, and eventually hatred takes root. What you might see as a simple difference of opinion, a reasonable stance, or a normal action to protect your own well-being is experienced by the narcissist as a personal attack. They feel as though you are denying them their rightful place at the top. For a narcissist, their sense of self is entirely contingent on being seen as the best, the smartest, the most successful, or the most capable person in the room. Any challenge to this self-image is catastrophic, as it shakes the foundation of their entire identity. This is why they can react so intensely to even minor disagreements or moments where their dominance is questioned. The mere existence of someone who doesn't fall into line with their narrative disrupts their illusion, and this disruption feels like an existential threat. The narcissist cannot bear the idea that someone might view them as anything less than exceptional. They need to feel like they are always the standout, the leader, the one who others admire and look up to. If you show that you do not view them in this light, it creates a deep sense of insecurity. This is when their feelings of hatred begin to form. It is not about you as a person. It is about their inability to reconcile with a world that does not constantly reaffirm their greatness. You are merely a catalyst for the profound discomfort they feel when faced with the reality that not everyone worships them. This discomfort quickly transforms into aggression. The narcissist, feeling threatened, will often lash out in an attempt to reassert control over the situation and to re-establish their sense of superiority. This may come in the form of belittling comments, devaluing your thoughts or actions, or outright attempting to destroy your self-esteem. By putting you down, they attempt to prop themselves back up. It's not that they truly dislike you. It's that your existence challenges their deeply held belief in their own perfection. In the end, it's about their need to maintain dominance and control over their environment. They must remain the most important figure, the most admired person, and they cannot tolerate anyone who threatens that position. When you refuse to submit to this narrative, the narcissist views it as a direct challenge to their identity, and in turn begins to direct their anger toward you. Their hate is simply a reflection of their inability to cope with a world that doesn't revolve around their every whim and desire. And so, to protect themselves from the discomfort of being vulnerable, they lash out, hoping to remind you, and themselves, that they are in control, no matter the cost. Number 2, narcissists hate you because you are a mirror they cannot control. Narcissists have an insatiable need for control. Their entire worldview is centered around maintaining dominance over their environment and the people within it. They see others as tools to either inflate their ego or reflect the image of perfection they desperately want to project. People, to a narcissist, are often not seen as independent individuals with their own identities, but as mirrors, tools that reflect back to the narcissist the image they wish to see. This makes it easier for them to maintain their carefully constructed self-image, which is built on a facade of superiority and invulnerability. When someone fits into this mold, the narcissist can feel validated, as if the reflection they see is a confirmation of their greatness. However, the situation changes entirely when you, as an individual, begin to demonstrate emotional strength, assertiveness, or independence. When you stand firm in your boundaries, express your own thoughts and feelings, or show that you are not easily manipulated, you cease to be the type of mirror the narcissist can control. Instead of reflecting the version of themselves they wish to see, you begin to reflect the uncomfortable truths they are not ready to confront. You hold up a mirror to them that exposes their flaws, insecurities, and vulnerabilities, things they are desperate to ignore or bury. This becomes a significant threat to their fragile sense of self and the persona they project to the world. The narcissist has spent so much time constructing a reality where they are always in control, always right, and always the center of attention. Your authenticity, your ability to think independently, and your refusal to be manipulated by them directly challenge this carefully crafted worldview. You no longer act as an extension of their ego or someone who will simply mirror their needs and desires. Instead, you are an autonomous person with your own thoughts, feelings, and boundaries, elements that disrupt the narcissist's need for control. This sense of autonomy in others is something the narcissist finds deeply uncomfortable, as it undermines their carefully constructed image and their perceived superiority. This clash creates internal turmoil for the narcissist. The very thing that makes you unique and authentic, your ability to express yourself fully, without being controlled, becomes something they feel they must eliminate or neutralize. The narcissist cannot tolerate the vulnerability that comes with being faced with truths they don't want to acknowledge. Vulnerability is a weakness in their eyes, something that must be avoided at all costs. When you challenge them with your authenticity, you push them to confront aspects of themselves that they are unwilling or unable to face. This confrontation makes them feel exposed and vulnerable in a way that is deeply unsettling to them. The narcissist's reaction to this is not personal. It's about what you represent. You represent a mirror that reflects everything they cannot bear to see about themselves. They don't see you as an individual with your own rights, needs, and desires. They see you as a threat to the perfect image they've worked so hard to create. Your strength, independence, and authenticity serve as a reminder to them of the vulnerability they constantly try to avoid. And because they cannot tolerate this vulnerability, they direct their resentment toward you. In their eyes, you must be destroyed or controlled because you force them to confront the uncomfortable truths they'd rather ignore. You become a symbol of everything they fear, a mirror that, instead of reflecting the image of grandeur and invulnerability they crave, reflects their insecurities, weaknesses, and deepest fears. As a result, the narcissist's hatred is not truly about you as a person. It's about the power you hold simply by being yourself. You remind them that they cannot control everything, especially not you, and this truth is something they cannot accept. Your authenticity becomes a threat to their facade, and this drives them to respond with disdain, anger, and ultimately, a desire to tear you down or silence you. It's not your actions that spark this hatred. It's the very essence of who you are and what you represent in their fragile world. Number 3. Narcissists hate you because you make them feel inferior. The narcissist's entire sense of self-worth is rooted in the need to feel superior. This need is not just a desire. It's a foundational part of their identity. They cannot bear the thought of being seen as less than others, as any suggestion of inferiority threatens the carefully constructed image of greatness they've built around themselves. This need for superiority is so ingrained that even the smallest hint of being less than in comparison to someone else can feel like a personal attack. In their eyes, the world is a hierarchical place, and they must be at the top. So when someone else shows qualities that challenge this hierarchy, such as success, confidence, or competence, it directly threatens their fragile self-image. The very essence of their being is wrapped up in being seen as the best, the most capable, and the most important. When you are successful, confident, or capable, you inadvertently shine a spotlight on their own vulnerabilities and insecurities. These are aspects of themselves they can neither acknowledge nor accept. Deep down, narcissists harbour a profound fear of being exposed as inadequate, unworthy, or inferior. This fear, which they are unwilling to confront, fuels their anger when someone like you, someone they cannot control or overshadow, displays characteristics they cannot easily replicate or surpass. When your strengths are something they cannot mimic or overcome, it forces them to confront the deep-rooted feelings of inadequacy they work so hard to bury. This triggers a deep sense of inferiority within them, which, rather than driving them to self-reflection or growth, ignites their rage. They cannot bear the thought that they are not the center of attention, nor can they accept being outshone by someone else. Rather than acknowledging their own flaws or shortcomings, the narcissist will instead project these feelings of inferiority onto you. This is where their hatred begins to manifest. In order to protect their fragile ego and maintain their sense of superiority, they may attempt to tear you down, belittle your successes, or invalidate your accomplishments. If they feel threatened by your confidence or achievements, they may go to great lengths to sabotage your efforts, either overtly or covertly, in an attempt to diminish you. The narcissist's irrational hatred isn't necessarily about you as an individual. It's about their inability to live up to the image of greatness they desperately try to project to the outside world. Your success and confidence serve as a mirror they cannot tolerate, forcing them to confront their own deep-seated feelings of inadequacy. This internal conflict manifests as anger, resentment, and a desperate need to undermine you in any way possible. Number 4. Narcissists hate you because you refuse to be their source of narcissistic supply. Narcissists depend on constant admiration, attention, and validation from others to sustain their fragile sense of self-worth. Their need for this narcissistic supply is insatiable, and they will go to great lengths to ensure they are continually fed the emotional fuel that keeps their inflated self-image intact. People exist for narcissists primarily to serve one function: to validate them. Whether through compliments, attention, or unwavering support, a narcissist views others as tools designed to provide the constant affirmation they crave. When you stop feeding this need, whether by withdrawing your affection, refusing to tolerate their manipulative behavior, or simply asserting your own boundaries, you become, in their eyes, useless. When you no longer provide the emotional validation they demand, they view it as a betrayal. In the narcissist's world, your value is directly tied to the amount of supply you can give them. When you stop providing it, they feel as though you've turned against them or stopped supporting their inflated sense of self-importance. This withdrawal of supply is seen as an affront, and it triggers their anger. Their response to this perceived betrayal can be harsh, vindictive, and cruel. They may punish you by withdrawing affection, spreading lies about you, or even attempting to sabotage your reputation in order to make themselves feel powerful again. The narcissist's hatred emerges because, without your emotional fuel, their carefully constructed self-image begins to crumble. In the narcissist's worldview, people are not seen as equals or unique individuals with their own needs and desires. Instead, they are viewed as disposable sources of supply. As soon as you stop playing your role as the narcissist's emotional provider, you become expendable. This is where the hatred intensifies. You are no longer serving the purpose they require, and this makes you an inconvenience that must be dealt with. The narcissist may lash out in an attempt to regain control or to punish you for no longer fulfilling the role they've assigned you. In their eyes, you've broken the unspoken contract, and as a result, they view you as a threat that must be removed or discarded. The lack of narcissistic supply makes you a target for their resentment, as they seek to regain the validation they so desperately need to sustain their false sense of superiority. Thank you for joining me today in unraveling the mystery behind why narcissists harbor such hatred toward you. It's not about you, not really. It's about their insecurities, their fragile ego, and their desperate need for control. Understanding these reasons is an important step in taking back control of your own life and emotional well-being. Remember, you are not at fault for their behavior. The narcissist's hatred is a reflection of their own inner turmoil, not your worth. If this video has resonated with you, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to stay connected for more content like this. Your journey toward healing and self-awareness is important, and by engaging in these conversations, we can support each other in navigating the complexities of narcissistic relationships. I encourage you to comment below with your thoughts, experiences, or any questions you may have. Let's keep the conversation going and continue to learn from one another. Thank you for being part of this community, and I look forward to connecting with you again soon. Why the narcissist wants you dead. Have you ever felt like the very essence of who you are draws the ire of someone close to you, leaving you questioning why their actions feel not just antagonistic, but downright destructive? What if I told you that a narcissist's need to dominate and control isn't just about superiority? It's rooted in something much darker. Today, we're unraveling the unsettling truth about why narcissists harbor a psychological drive so intense. It can feel like they're targeting your very existence. Stick with me until the end, because understanding this could change how you view not only them, but also yourself. Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Join our community of truth seekers who are piecing together the hidden dynamics of toxic relationships. Give this video a like if the topic resonates with you, and share it with anyone who might need to hear these truths. Ready? Let's uncover why the narcissist wants you, metaphorically or emotionally, dead. The narcissist's feelings toward you are far more complex than mere annoyance. They are deeply threatened by your presence. This might be surprising at first glance, but understanding the dynamics at play reveals the truth. Narcissists rely on an inflated and carefully constructed sense of self-worth to navigate the world. However, this facade is extremely fragile, more like a delicate house of cards than a solid foundation. The moment they encounter someone who exudes authenticity, genuine confidence, or heartfelt empathy, their entire world starts to falter. Why? Because those qualities act as a mirror, forcing them to confront the emptiness and insecurities they work so hard to suppress. Each act of kindness, every success you achieve, and your unwavering commitment to your values become painful reminders of the void within them. This isn't a mild discomfort, it's a profound existential threat. To maintain their self-delusion, they feel compelled to destroy the very qualities in you that highlight their inadequacies. When you interact with a narcissist, every exchange becomes a subtle yet intense battleground. Your strength, integrity, and refusal to engage in petty games are intolerable to them. It's not that they want to harm you in a physical sense, but they do have a relentless desire to extinguish what makes you exceptional. If you've ever walked away from a conversation with a narcissist feeling inexplicably drained, questioning your worth, or second-guessing your perceptions, know that this is no accident. It's the direct result of their calculated efforts to undermine your sense of self. They deploy manipulative tactics like gaslighting to distort your reality, triangulation to create conflict and isolate you, and emotional manipulation to keep you under their control. These strategies aren't just about gaining power over you. They are about diminishing you to a level where you no longer pose a threat to their inflated but hollow ego. What drives this behavior runs deeper than mere arrogance or cruelty. It is rooted in envy. Narcissists are envious of your light, your authenticity, and the effortless way you attract others with your genuine qualities. Their entire existence revolves around crafting an artificial glow, an imitation of the very essence you naturally embody. When they realize they cannot replicate your authenticity, their envy morphs into a desire to diminish you. They might take subtle jabs at your achievements, plant seeds of doubt in your mind, or work to sabotage your relationships with supportive people. The aim is always the same: to dim your natural brilliance so their own artificial light seems brighter in comparison. To fully grasp this, it helps to look deeper into the source of their envy. Narcissists live with a persistent sense of emptiness at their core. Their grandiose persona is like a balloon, large and impressive on the outside, but completely hollow within. When they encounter someone with the qualities they lack but secretly desire, it triggers intense feelings of inadequacy and unprocessed rage. Instead of addressing these painful emotions, they project them outward. You, as the person who embodies what they cannot, become their target. Your very existence feels like a challenge to their delicate, constructed identity, making you the enemy in their distorted view of the world. Reflect for a moment. Have you ever shared joyful news with a narcissist only to be met with apathy, subtle criticism, or even outright attempts to downplay your happiness? Perhaps they've tried to shift the focus to themselves or brought up unrelated negativity to sour the moment. This isn't just rudeness, it's deliberate. Narcissists despise witnessing your happiness because true joy is something they can't genuinely access. Your happiness serves as a glaring reminder of their internal despair, so they make it their mission to diminish your joy. Their logic is twisted but consistent. If they can't be happy, then neither should you. Adding to this is the sinister way narcissists use charm and manipulation to draw you into their web. Think back to the early stages of your relationship with a narcissist during the love bombing phase. It felt like a whirlwind of affection, attention, and validation, didn't it? Yet none of it was authentic. This phase is a carefully orchestrated tactic designed to make you feel special, valued, and understood. During this time, the narcissist studies you intently, learning your vulnerabilities, hopes, and fears. Once they have this knowledge, they weaponize it. The approval they once lavished on you becomes a tool for control. They withdraw it, leaving you desperate to regain their favor. This calculated withdrawal fosters dependency because, for a narcissist, power over others is essential for their survival. Even their grand gestures and apparent acts of kindness are rarely what they seem. Instead, these actions are transactional, intended to serve their needs while ensnaring you further into their sphere of influence. Narcissists thrive on creating an illusion of care and generosity, but beneath the surface, everything they do is geared toward maintaining control. The very vulnerabilities you once trusted them with are turned against you in moments of conflict. This betrayal often feels deeply personal because it is. They're exploiting the deepest parts of you to reinforce their dominance. The reality is that the narcissist doesn't just want to see you falter. They need it to sustain their fragile sense of superiority. Each time you demonstrate resilience, show kindness, or stand firm in your truth, it's an affront to the unstable foundation of their ego. They see your strengths not as qualities to admire, but as threats to neutralize. The journey of dealing with a narcissist is often exhausting, filled with emotional highs and lows, precisely because they work tirelessly to erode your confidence and sense of reality. Understanding this dynamic is the first step toward breaking free from their grip and reclaiming your light. The truly chilling aspect of dealing with a narcissist lies in their subtle and insidious strategy. Their endgame isn't always obvious or immediate. Instead, they play the long game, weaving a web of manipulation designed to erode your sense of self over time. Their tactics are slow but deliberate, methodically chipping away at your confidence, happiness, and identity. Their goal is not just to hurt you momentarily, but to create a lasting impact that leaves you questioning your decisions, doubting your worth, and feeling disconnected from the very traits that make you unique. Over time, this process can leave you feeling hollow, as though the vibrant parts of your spirit have been extinguished. For many victims of narcissistic abuse, this emotional death, this loss of self, can feel far more devastating than any physical harm could ever be. The question then arises, why do narcissists feel the need to destroy others in such a calculated way? At the heart of their behavior is fear, profound and unrelenting fear. Beneath their outward bravado and grandiosity lies an inner world dominated by terror. They are terrified of being exposed for who they truly are, of being seen as insignificant, or of being abandoned entirely. These fears drive their need to control and manipulate. By tearing you down, they believe they can eliminate the threat you pose to their delicate, constructed sense of self. It's important to understand that their actions are rarely about you personally. Instead, they are a reaction to what you represent. You serve as a mirror, reflecting back their inadequacies and unmet desires. Your strengths, confidence, and authenticity are glaring reminders of everything they lack, and this is a reality they find unbearable. The way they dismantle your spirit is as calculated as it is cruel. They may begin with small, seemingly insignificant criticisms, tiny jabs disguised as jokes or helpful advice. Over time, these add up, creating cracks in your self-esteem. They might invalidate your feelings, undermine your achievements, or plant seeds of doubt about your decisions. These behaviors are not random. They are carefully executed to make you feel unworthy, incapable, and isolated. This gradual erosion of your sense of self allows the narcissist to gain control as your confidence fades and you start to rely on their validation. To them, this dependency equals power, and that power feeds their fragile ego. Recognizing the patterns of a narcissist's behavior is the essential first step to breaking free from their hold. Awareness is the key that begins to unlock the chains they've created, giving you the ability to see their actions for what they truly are, a projection of their own fears, insecurities, and deep-seated issues. It's important to realize that their behavior is not, and has never been, a reflection of your value or worth. Their attempts to manipulate, belittle, or control you are rooted entirely in their own internal struggles, and not in anything you've done. By understanding this, you can start to separate their cruelty from your sense of self and avoid absorbing their negativity. Their words and actions may sting, but they stem from their own unresolved wounds and should never define how you see yourself. You are not at fault for their actions, and you never deserved the mistreatment you've endured. Recognizing that their need to diminish you reflects their inability to handle your strengths, not a deficiency in you, can help you begin the process of reclaiming your self-worth. Once you've gained this awareness, the next crucial step is setting boundaries. Boundaries are not only a way to protect yourself, but also a way to assert your right to live free from manipulation and harm. Narcissists rely on unrestricted access to you, access to your emotions, time, energy, and even your vulnerabilities. They exploit this access to maintain control and to fuel their toxic need for dominance. By limiting or cutting off this access, you disrupt their ability to manipulate you and start to regain your power. Setting boundaries might mean reducing contact with them, being firm in your decisions, or refusing to engage when they try to bait you into arguments or emotional reactions. It could involve physical distance or simply deciding not to share personal details they might use against you. Each boundary you establish is a step toward reclaiming your autonomy and creating a space where their toxic influence cannot thrive. It's worth noting, however, that setting boundaries isn't always easy. Narcissists are skilled at testing limits, pushing back, and employing tactics like guilt-tripping, anger, or even charm to bypass the barriers you've put in place. This resistance can make enforcing boundaries feel intimidating, especially if you've been conditioned to prioritize their needs over your own. But remember, your boundaries are not just for protection. They are a declaration of your self-respect and a refusal to participate in their toxic narrative. While it might feel uncomfortable at first, holding firm to your boundaries is a vital act of self-care and empowerment. Each time you say no to their manipulation, you're saying yes to yourself, reinforcing your own value and independence. Alongside setting boundaries, healing must also be a priority on your journey to reclaiming your sense of self. Healing is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process of nurturing your emotional, mental, and physical well-being. Surround yourself with people who genuinely support and uplift you, whether they are friends, family, or a community that values your happiness and growth. Having a supportive network can provide the encouragement and strength you need as you navigate the challenges of recovery. In addition to seeking support, engaging in self-care is an essential part of healing. Self-care isn't just about indulgence. It's about taking deliberate actions to restore and maintain your well-being. This might involve seeking therapy to process your experiences, journaling to reflect on your emotions, or practicing mindfulness and meditation to reconnect with your inner peace. It's also important to spend time doing activities that bring you joy and help you rediscover the parts of yourself that may have been buried under the weight of the narcissist's influence. Whether it's pursuing a hobby, exploring your passions, or simply taking quiet moments to reflect, these acts of self-care help rebuild the aspects of your spirit that the narcissist sought to tear down. Healing is a process of renewal, allowing you to remember and reclaim the vibrant, resilient, and unique person you are. It's about recognizing that your light, your essence, and your worth are not just intact, but deserving of protection and celebration. The narcissist's ultimate aim is to extinguish your light, not through physical harm, but through emotional and spiritual destruction. They want to dim your spirit because your radiance is a threat to their darkness. Yet, there's a truth they don't want you to realize. They cannot destroy your light unless you allow them to. Your resilience, your capacity to heal, and your ability to rise above their games are far greater than their attempts to control you. You hold the power to protect your sense of self, reclaim your identity, and continue shining brightly. No matter how much they try to convince you otherwise, your worth is intrinsic, unshakable, and entirely beyond their reach. Thank you for watching this far. Your presence here matters, and your journey toward understanding and empowerment is a testament to your strength. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to join our community of truth seekers.